All right, we are live. Thank you for joining the Confidence After Dark podcast. The main mission and focus of this podcast is to help couples listen to one another, understand one another, and to create a healthy environment for their family using the power of femininity, intimacy, and vulnerability. Because when you thrive, everyone else around you thrives. In today's episode, I have a guest. I'm doing a guest interview with Becky Cohen, who is the founder of the Conscious Revolution, which is um, it's a coaching program, correct?
So I'm a coach and I'm a consultant as well, but a transformational coach, helping people discover and unleash their life's purpose and unique gifts that they bring to the world. And I do that also with a tool that's called Human Design.
Okay, I just wanted to get the title right. Okay, so she is a transformational coach who specializes in human design, which is it's a pretty new concept to, I guess, the mainstream, but essentially it is finding your soul's purpose and understanding your soul's purpose so that you can live up to your fullest potential. And so I brought her on so that she can give us some insight into how we can use human design in order to increase the quality of our lives and to increase the quality of our relationships. And so I want to start off by having you introduce yourself just one more time, telling us about your business and how it is that you help your clients realize their fullest potential.
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name's Becky. I'm super excited to be on your podcast today. So, basically, I specialise in helping people discover and unleash their life purpose and unique gifts they were meant to bring into this world. So, really, I have one-on-one coaching programs, and I also have a group coaching program that's quite transformational. And obviously, with all of this stuff, all of it has to come back to the relationship that you have with yourself and understanding who you are as a human being and how you can thrive before you can actually get to purpose. So this comes into every aspect of the relationship with yourself and obviously with your partners as well. You need to be able to understand yourself and your core needs first. So the way that I bring human design into all of this is basically human design is like Alexa was saying, it's quite a new spiritual tool on in the concept of it basically brings in all of spiritual modalities all into one, plus it meets science as well. So how it works is basically you from the time of your birth, like it has astrology mixed in, it brings in the I Ching, it brings in the Kabbalah, it's got an aspect of the quantum as well. It has the chakra system, your energetic systems all rolled into one. And basically from the time of your birth, the science part of it, so what happens is 88 days before we're born, our DNA is set within our body. It is basically locked in. And what people don't actually know is that, and some people know if you're into science, is that there are actually 64 different codons and they're codes within your DNA strands, and they are set 88 days before we're born. Now, human design has been able to crack the code of your DNA strands, and what's in the codes is quite fascinating. It is everything from your soul's purpose, the life contract that you've contracted to be in this life, on Earth. Also, it talks about in terms of your biggest life lessons that you've chosen to learn, your limiting beliefs, the fears that you're going to experience this time, and also all your strengths and superpowers, even your zone of genius and what you're actually meant to bring in to be able to live your fullest life and potential. So it's all within your DNA, which is the coolest thing about it.
Wow. So is spirituality plus science rolled into one?
Pretty much. Yeah, it's everything, every aspect that you can imagine. And it's giving you, think of it as a key to your soul's blueprint. So everyone has a unique soul's blueprint. So you can imagine once you understand yourself, and then let's just say you had access to everybody else's soul blueprint, your partner, for instance, and how they operate. It's really about then knowing yourself and how then you can understand every other person and how they operate on the planet, so that you can then understand how to communicate better, how you can have better relationships with everyone, and how you can live more cohesively. But it always starts with yourself first. So in terms of, I have a lot of clients who come to me and like they're having problems within their marriages. And when we do one of these, I can actually do a human design reading for the partnerships together to be able to see like where the communication might be broken, where love language is different for each person, you know, in terms of how we actually, the needs that we need emotionally, spiritually, mentally from each other to be able to thrive. And once you have that kind of information, you can start having better conversations and how to deal with your partner when things are breaking down as well.
Interesting. I heard you mention a term that I haven't heard before. Um, is it Kabbalah? Is
Kabbalah? Yes.
yeah, I've never heard of that before. What is that?
So the Kabbalah or Kabbalah is actually the ancient scripts that were found pre-Judaism. So even like before there was these scrolls that were found, and it's like almost like in terms of, have you ever heard of the Tree of Life?
Yes.
Yeah, so the Tree of Life that's the Kabbalah concept as well. So there it's going back to ancient scripts. So it brings everything in, mysticism almost.
Okay. Okay. So what made you get into this type of work?
Wow, yes, great question. So I originally came from a corporate background. I was like a high flyer in IT project management. And I was also a very spiritual person. So you can imagine how out of alignment I was, like working for these high flyers, working in environments where it was quite toxic as well. Toxic, there was male toxicity within, the leadership dominance. Very hard to get up the chain in terms of being a woman, but also it was very the environments was very much, about harassment and about throwing people under the bus to be able to get up the ladder in the ranks, which never aligned with me. So I was always, fighting for the underdog, and it was that kind of environment where it was a constant struggle emotionally. I went into burnout more than physically, and that's another big thing that I help my clients with, because at the end of the day, burnout is more than workload. It's not just about energy burnt physically. It can be about emotionally, spiritually. And for me, what happened is I also found I started to when COVID hit, basically, I was always good with helping people with startups because of my project management stuff, and all my friends basically were starting to lose their jobs, and I wanted to help and contribute in any way because I still had my job. And it just morphed over time. I started to bring all these people together. We used to do a wine on a Friday night over Zoom when we were all in lockdown, and starting to talk to people about, what their fears were, what was going on for them. And I started to help them, indirectly coaching them into something they could do for themselves to bring out their unique gifts in themselves. So I was already in tune intuitively with it about how to help people to be able to be the best versions of themselves, to get them into something that they wanted to do, to discover their life purpose. Fast forward a year or so, I started getting more into the human design and realized how beautifully it aligned with what I was doing. It was just actually then having the key to my clients' souls to be able to show them their blueprint and what they were meant to do with their life. So it just actually complemented so well. And with the intuitive gifts I have, like bringing human design element into it, I'm able to crack people's codes and unlock what they're meant to be doing in this lifetime, and to help them become into their highest version of themselves as well.
Okay. Okay. So you were essentially, like, this just started off as something to do during COVID, and you ended up realizing your soul's purpose, right?
Correct. I mean, I went for years, like just, wondering, like, I knew I had a bigger mission. Like, I wanted to know what my mission was. Like, why don't I know?
Yeah.
I know I'm here for greater things. And then what I realized was, and this will probably resonate a lot with your audience as well, is through all the stuff that was happening, the patterns in relationships where I was people pleasing, where I didn't know my own self-worth and the value, even in workplaces, being overlooked, overseen for promotions and all those kinds of things, was a core wound that I needed to heal within myself. So it wasn't until I went back and started working on myself, doing a lot of the personal development work, realizing what my own core wounds were, where I was out of alignment with myself, I was never going to be able to realize my purpose, because self comes first. You need to put your oxygen mask on first, realize that you need to put yourself first to be able to do the work before you start looking after everybody else, to be able to start realizing your potential and to be able to heal those wounds within you before you can actually step into purpose. So that was part of the journey as well. And I started to do a lot of that work in the background while I was still going through the corporate ladder. But for years, I was so out of alignment with myself, of not knowing what I was meant to do. But until I actually went deep and started to do that work and found the mentors that I needed to work with, it was never going to come to fruition.
Right, right. And what did those mentors do for you?
So I think the biggest one for me was when I had another relationship that was falling apart. I'd moved interstate to be with my now ex-partner. And all this work that I thought I was doing on myself, started to repeat in this pattern in this relationship. I called in another kind of narcissistic person. There was all these other things that happened along the way that I kept seeing that person, where not that my last partner was narcissistic in any way, shape, or form, but because I'd been in narcissistic relationships, what happened to me was that I was shut off from being able to receive and completely giving, and didn't know how. And obviously that's the wound that comes when you're attracting narcissistic people. So what would happen in my last relationship, again, it wasn't that person was narcissistic, but what happened at the end of it was they weren't capable of giving more than they could, and they wanted to be somewhere else in the relationship, like with somebody else. I wasn't good enough, but that's just a mirror of what was happening with me. I never felt like I was good enough, right? So all these relationships where I was completely giving 100% and not being able to receive, or even knowing what it is that I needed for myself in that relationship to thrive, of course I'm going to have a wound of not feeling good enough, because I didn't even know what enough was for me, because I couldn't give that to myself, right? So I actually, ironically, went to look for a coach to help me with knowing what my mission was. I knew I was very spiritual. I knew I was supposed to do spiritual work, but I just couldn't figure out how I was meant to bring it into this world. And ironically, that coach of mine, she knocked me out completely with all of this stuff through my relationships and what I was doing, and going back to childhood and where it actually started, those core wounds of not being enough, not being validated, not feeling lovable, all those things. And it had nothing to do with purpose. So we went back, and it was just like, oh, wow, I've got a whole lot of work to do on myself before I can even get there. So she was the catalyst for this work that I'm doing now, in terms of helping people to be able to step into their full power, into their empowerment. And that's the first part of the work, that transformation that needs to happen within the self before you can even get to the life purpose that you're meant to be doing.
That's so interesting, because I just finished up an interview. It hasn't come out yet, but I just finished up an interview with a coach who specializes on those inner wounds, like helping you be able to heal those inner childhood wounds so that you can be able to heal and therefore thrive, amongst yourself first, but also in future relationships, and how healing that childhood trauma is so important and sometimes overlooked, because we don't think about it, starting from when we were a child, or we may think that we're over it, that we should be over it by now, and just kind of overlooking the things that may have happened to us back then that we're still carrying unconsciously into our adulthood, that's
Totally.
driving our actions and how we react and how we take things in, and the view that we have of ourselves and the world and all of that. So yeah, definitely I feel like that is definitely reaffirming that healing those childhood wounds is definitely a good first step when trying to start your healing journey.
Oh, 100%. And bring it back one step further. I'll simplify something that really, for me, when it clicked, is that as human beings, we've got three core emotional needs, right? So it's anytime that we're in burnout, anytime that we're out of alignment with ourselves, like to the other extreme for me, this is what I personally believe, we go to burnout. And that's not physically, it's emotionally, mentally, spiritually. When we come out of alignment with ourselves, that we're so far, what happens is we're getting less and less connected with our soul. We become soulless. And the more energy we burn getting away from it goes to complete burnout. But most people think that it's just, I'm so exhausted, right? It's just this exhaustion. But that's the end of the line. But your body's trying to tell you through your emotions, through like all these limiting beliefs and all these things that are going on constantly, that's the energy that's so taxing that's going on, to the point that if you don't actually correct that, and it's happening since childhood, you will burn out. And that's, you're going to be flat on your back, not being able to get up, all those kinds of things, being disconnected from society, not having any motivation to do anything in your life. Energy's gone, right? But then what happens is we start to think about, oh, okay, if I just rest for a while, you start to feel physically like I can get up and do things. But if we don't address that emotional and the mental and the spiritual things that are going behind, it's just going to happen again and again and again. Yeah. Right? So that's the end of the line. But we just fix the physical. We don't fix the emotional and the mental things to come back into alignment with ourselves. And most of us are so busy bypassing our own emotions. I'll be fine. I'll deal with it later. It's not so bad. Could be worse. I need to keep going. I've got kids that need me. My partner needs me. My work needs me. I can't deal with this right now, right? So we park it. But the three core things that we need on an emotional level to function as human beings is to be seen. So that's to be recognized, to be heard, to be understood as people, and to be validated, so acknowledged. Right? So those three core things are gonna, if they're out of alignment from when we're at children, it's like what happens that those are the three things that we're looking for from our parents. Not to say that, you know, we've all had shitty childhoods, but, you know, nothing's ever perfect. And those things, one of those three things, if they're not in alignment from what we don't get as kids, we carry that into our adulthood. So if you feel invisible, it's probably because you're playing that role out because that's how you learned as a child and what you need to be. You need to be invisible, therefore you're not being recognized and seen, right? Some kids, you know, to be seen and not heard. So you don't have full self-expression, and you're not allowed to be in your authentic self in your voice, right? And then there are others who are just like, you know, mummy, daddy, look at me, you know, like riding around on the bike, look, no hands, because they don't get the attention. So they don't feel loved or they don't feel worthy. And it's that's the part of not having that proper validation that they bring value. Do you see what I'm saying? And that will keep playing out. Now, what's cool about human design is it is in your chart what your core needs are the most. And probably when you're out of alignment with yourself, then you're not getting those needs met. And then it actually then explains to you what's happening and being able to bring exactly what you're saying from the unconscious to the conscious awareness of what you need as a human being in your unique design to function properly and how to thrive, not just survive.
Right. So then human design helps bring it to the surface as an adult, so that now you can start to give those things to yourself, right?
Correct. It's first like that self-awareness, the piece about self-awareness and self-discovery. I give 90-minute readings and we run through a whole gamut of things where we can do day-to-day things to change your life from the get-go. And then it obviously goes deeper into some of those other things that are beneath the surface. But it's like anything. It's a tool that then requires work on yourself, like a muscle to train yourself. Because obviously if we're now, like I'm in my 40s and I've been so conditioned all my life to do all these things, to feel safe, to feel protected, it's going to be a whole lot of work to decondition
to unlearn
those
things. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
absolutely. And it does take work. You got to be willing to put the work in. That's what I keep reiterating, because nowadays a lot of people think it just happens. You know, if you just pray harder, if you do all these manifestation tricks, and you know, you could just sit back and, you know, it'll just come, not realizing that um yes, you can manifest, yes, you could pray, but God, the universe, also wants you to take action. And that's the most important part, is coming up with the plan and then taking action. You won't be able to control everything, right? You won't be able to control every little step. There'll be twists and turns. That'll be, obstacles thrown in there and things like that that you may not see coming. But just taking those steps to keep moving forward and paying attention to the signs. Like, is this the path I'm supposed to be on? Is this the way I'm supposed to go? Is this how I'm supposed to move and go about it? What else do I need? What other types of tools and things should I be doing in order to reach the place that I'm trying to get to and stuff like that? And I could definitely resonate when you were saying, like, when you're out of alignment, how drained you feel, because that is exactly how I would feel. Like, I would just be so tired and I wouldn't know why. I would sleep a lot. I used to sleep a lot, like many hours, take multiple naps a day, and just still be so tired. Um, and not really understanding why, until it was like, okay, depression causes you to be, extremely tired and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I suffer from depression. And so it was like, okay, that's helping me to understand, but I still want my energy back. And it wasn't until I stopped trying to be one way for everybody else and started going my way on my path and following the signs that I felt like were for me. And like you said, stepping into the path that I feel like is for me, that I started gaining that energy. Even while I'm pregnant, 5 months pregnant, I still have more energy than I ever did before, because I feel like I'm walking in alignment, like I'm walking on the path that I'm supposed to be walking on. So if anyone is listening and you are just tired, you are just drained, look at if you're in alignment. Like, like Becky said, like, are you in alignment? Are you living in your soul's purpose? And if not, then it sounds like human design is the tool that can help you recognize what it is that you need to be giving to yourself.
Yeah, so Alexa, it's interesting. I've got your chart behind if you're interested in seeing, because exactly what you're talking about is to the T of your human design. I can actually show you a few things if you want to know, and then
Oh
how it can
yeah.
help your audience. Let me see if I
Okay.
can share my screen.
Oh, let me give you the permission. 1 second.
I'm going to show you a few things about exactly what you're talking about. And the depression part, I believe also is going to come from exactly what you said. It's more to do with being out of alignment with yourself. Now, this is what the chart looks like. And usually when people open, they're like, holy crap, like what's going on here? It's so much. So just for your audience sake, you can get a free chart, and this is the best one. It's mybodygraph.com up here. I can give you the link also, so you can put it in the notes if you want to. And what you want to look at a basic level, guys, is like, there's a few things here, not all of it. This is what a reading is for. There are 5 different types, and you'll see your type here. So Alexia here is a manifesting generator. Now, generators and manifesting generators make up nearly 70% of the entire population, human population at the moment. So this is going to probably pertain some of this information to 70% of your audience right now. And what it means, whether you're a generator or a manifesting generator, your type, your soul's purpose to be here is not only, it's to do work that you love to do. You're here to work, but you're here to feel, and this is what we call satisfaction. Here is in your signature. That's your signature, to feel satisfaction in everything that you do. And if you don't, Alexia, feel satisfaction, what's going to happen is you're going to drop into what's called a not self theme, which is like your challenge. When you're not feeling satisfaction in your work, and exactly what you're talking about, your energy is going to go into frustration. Does that resonate with you? Frustrated with what you
Oh
do?
yeah, absolutely. If I do not love it, I don't want to do it. people will tell you, oh, just try it, especially being an entrepreneur. Oh, just try anything, just do anything, to make money. And I'm just like, if it's not in my heart, like if I don't have a heart for it, I can't force myself to do it, because I've tried it before. And like you said, I would get frustrated, I would give up quick, and all that stuff. So I could definitely see that.
So here we go. So, and this is the part we're talking about, alignment and not alignment. So like towards your human design for generators, manifesting generators, if you guys are not feeling in satisfaction, that's your alignment. And when you're in satisfaction, you can manifest, like we were talking about, like quite rapidly, like to get into alignment with your type. But the more frustration you feel in your relationships, in the diet that you take, in the exercise that you do, the people that you hang around, the work specifically that you do day in, day out, frustration leads you to that soul misalignment, soulless is what I'm going to call it, and you are going to burn out, right? So that's the point. The more frustration you feel, that's the energy taxing part that you feel as a generator or a manifesting generator. What I want you guys to know is generators, manifesting generators, what's a generator? A generator is like that battery, that engine. You think about, like, I don't know, do you have the Energizer Bunny in America? Like that advertisement?
Yeah.
Woo, go,
Yeah.
go, go, go.
They don't show commercials as much as they used to anymore. I miss those.
But the Energizer Bunny, that's what I think about
Yeah.
these guys, because when they're excited and they're like, yay, I'm a manifesting generator as also. When I say we, it's me. We have so much energy and we can't wait to create. Manifesting generators, more than generators, we are creators. We're here to actually do not just work that we love, but we're here to be innovators. And once we've got that satisfaction, we can innovate, we can create. And manifesting generators are the fastest people on the planet. So talk really fast, do things really fast, want to skip steps. So if we do things, like generators are very methodical, they have the energy to go step by step until they finish a project, then they rest. Manifesting generators are multi-passionate, multitasking, like really quick. Other people are like, whoa, slow down, like my head's spinning, like around us usually, like you're talking too fast, slow down, what did you just say, I missed it. But we're trying to keep up with all the cool thoughts that are going on in our head a lot of the time. So you can imagine when you've got that much burst of energy and you're exporting it to things that don't light you up inside. This is all about sacral energy. You need to be lit up from that inside with that passion. If you're not, you're going to feel frustrated and you're going to burn out. So depression is getting away from your soul and out of alignment, exactly what you were talking about, until you stepped into your power and said, I'm going to do me. I'm going to be in alignment with myself and listen to my soul and what it's asking for, right? And that's how you got out of it. So it's exactly in your chart what it's saying to do. Now, this is the cool thing. So when it comes to manifestation, there's a strategy, right? You want to think about, like, guys, if you're the other types of projectors, there's going to be a generator, like I said, a manifesting generator, a manifester, or a reflector. Those are the 5 types. So generators, manifesting generators, you're going to have the same strategy, not self-theme and signature that we're talking about here. If you're one of the other types, just have a look at what it's saying in here. It's going to be slightly different for you people. And so what a strategy means is how to actually have a strategy to external forces coming into you, right? So, like, when you talk about manifestation, you hear about the path to least resistance. Don't force it, like you want to get into alignment. So what it means, a strategy to respond, is this is coming from your sacral. The sacral energy is a gut response. So what you want to do, like, when people say you got to listen to your gut, not everyone has that. It's only so 70% of the population, generators, manifesting generators, your superpower is your gut. It's going to never lead you astray. So how to get that gut response is you need to ask yourself or get other people to ask you yes or no questions. So, let's just say, like you're saying, it's like, today being an entrepreneur, this is like me too. I've got to stop listening to all the gurus out there, what you must do, have to do to have a successful business. I wake up and go, what's going to give me the most satisfaction today? What's going to light me up? Because I know it's going to serve someone. Even if it's just me for now, it's going to serve somebody who needs to hear that message. For me, I'm not a big marketer. I don't love marketing, so I have to find
Me
what
either.
right. But I love these conversations. I love jumping on podcasts. I love serving people. I love being on Zooms and being able to help people, the one-on-one conversations. And that's in my
Yeah.
chat too, right? It's
Yeah.
somewhere else it's buried. But instead of like, you need to go live every day, like jump on, just talk about what it, no, that's not me. I'm not going to be one of those that are doing those silly dances on TikTok, like, or whatever. It's just not me. So leave it to the people that brings them satisfaction, but don't follow the trends. And that's you as well. You're a leader, you're an innovator. So how do you bring your A game every day is by being satisfied, feeling what lights you up. Now, when you're trying to make big decisions, like in terms of manifestation, how I use this specifically, and again, this is an experiment for you to be able to get into alignment, but every day, like your strategy is to react by feeling into your gut. And is it you'll feel a yes or a no pull in your gut, not your brain. You need to turn the brain off, not what I should be doing, what I must do, what other people want me to do. This is all about aligning to self. And goes for everyone, no matter what you do, this is only about you. Shut the world out, because the brain will come in and take over and like try to keep you safe. Oh, go take that job over there because it will bring you more money. Your family needs the money. Does it bring you satisfaction? No. So let's just say how to use your strategy. You want to, the end game, everyone wants more money. Let's be real. Like you want that promotion or whatever. You want to know that it's going to bring you more money, or at least the same if you're going to be satisfied. The question to ask yourself is, what job is going to bring me that satisfaction and light me up that I'm looking for? Because when you do that and you're in love with what you do, the money will come.
Right.
So let's just say you're about to go for an interview with somebody and, you're asked for a job interview. And it's like, you can ask yourself before this, is this job going to bring me satisfaction? And you'll feel that pull, yes or no. That's all you need to do is go with that gut. If it's a no, get the hell out of there. Don't worry about the rest, because the minute you say no, a bunch of doors open, and that yes, that is coming with satisfaction, with the money, with all the things that you've been looking for. But if your husband over there is going, what, are you crazy? We needed that job or whatever, and you go and do that, guess what? Frustration's coming, burnout's coming,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It absolutely is. That is definitely how it is, because I've gotten suggestions on, do funny things and the trends and all of that stuff. And I'm just like, it's not me, it's not me, it's not me. And it's like, but it can be you. You just gotta try harder, and you just gotta suck it up and just do it, because it's what will get you where you want to be. But like you said, if it's not bringing me satisfaction, if it's not letting me express who I really am and let me be who I really am, then I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. It's just resistance for me. And then I experienced like that burnout. And it's where, I drop down into my depression, and I start giving up. I start thinking more negatively and all that stuff. And it's like, it wasn't until, like you said, I started listening to my gut. That's why I talk a lot about feminine energy too, because it says that it's about you, listening to your emotions, understanding how you feel, dropping into those feelings to really understand, what it is that you want. And so when I do that, I'm better able to like hear myself versus everybody else. Um, and so far, the decisions that I've been making, especially when it comes to my business and how I move about it, I feel like I'm getting better received, like, because I don't want to be received for somebody that I'm not. And so I got to keep up this appearance, and it's not really me. It just feels more comfortable being me and just attracting the people who like me for me. You know what I
Beautiful.
mean?
Yeah.
So I could definitely, I feel like that is a good some good information and advice that you were saying about listening to your gut. I think listeners out there definitely hold on to that and start implementing that and seeing if that changes things for you.
Yeah, so that's for the generators and manifesting generators. It's a gut response. It's going to be slightly different for some of the others. Now, what I want you to know is if you do not have that gut response, it doesn't mean that you don't have access to that energy. It's just not the superpower of your super strength that you're supposed to listen to. So for instance, there's these things in here. This is the 9 energy chakra system that we've evolved to from a 7. So there are some people who are going to have a like if they're let's go with the manifestors, their strategy is actually to inform. Now, what that means is when because manifestors are the only ones that, like the name suggests, like manifestors actually can initiate from the mind exactly what they want, right? It's that they turn that thought into things. They're the only ones who are meant to manifest like that. So what we talked about here with us, it's more about waiting for that gut response, so that you actually ask a question when it feels into alignment and it's a yes, you go for it, right? Manifestors, they are here to actually initiate from the mind of what they want. But if they do not take the strategy to inform people of something that they're going to implement and do, it's actually going to cause friction in their life. So because they're so quick in initiating, they just want to go and do things. But the thing is that they need to take people on that journey and communicate that along the way to make their lives a lot easier. Otherwise, so like, let's just say you have a boss that then goes and has a team of, like, I don't know, 10 people of the leadership team, and they just make a decision and run for it. And then you hear about it through an email. It's like, what? Like, where was our input into that? So it's not that they're not listening to everyone. It's just like they get that boom, I know what we need to do, let's go. And it's like, okay, but you've got other people that they work a lot of the time in silo, and they're not, even though they're the innovators, they're not meant to be in that leadership role. Actually, if you're a projector, they're more here to guide, teach, and learn, to guide and teach so that other people can learn from them. Manifestors are the ones who are the visionaries. Manifesting generators, we're a hybrid. So the generators are the ones that pump out, generate work. Manifesting generators, we are a hybrid of the visionaries and the workers who can do it, but we still need to be guided and taught by the projectors out there, right? So that's the different types. And then there's one other type that's called a reflector. Only 1% of the whole population are reflectors, and they're here more to build community, tribe. They're all about that, and their energy is so sensitive that they're here to reflect back to us. They pull in all our energy, and they're like a mirror to reflect back to us what we need to see in ourselves. They're amazing people, but there's only like 1% of them on the planet. So they feel everything from everyone, like super sensitive. So you can see that for everyone, they've got different superpowers on what they're meant to be doing here.
Yeah.
And how to step into their purpose. And then when you go through a reading with me, this is where we get into all your energetic centers and the differences within the codes. What I was talking about, those codes that are within your DNA, these numbers down on these sides here. This is the conscious side, and this is your unconscious side, and what's playing out in your DNA. It's quite complicated. I don't want to go too much into it, but this makes up the whole. But if you can understand your type at the top level of you're here as a projector to be a mentor, to guide and teach people. So definitely step into a leadership role. But a leadership role doesn't mean burning yourself working 40 hours a week, 80 hours a week in corporate. You're meant to be stepping away from that and making it your own business, right? Yeah. The generators, manifesting generators, they're here to work. They can burn. It doesn't mean that you can't be an entrepreneur. Manifesting generators a lot of the time step into entrepreneurship, but they've got the power behind them to do the work. So as a manifestor, you're here to actually be the innovator. Manifesting generators, working and innovation combination. So can you imagine if we start restructuring teams out there and we had one of all these people who came together as part of a team?
Yeah, it'll be powerful.
How powerful is that, right? So we're all here, and that's the part about first understand your own energy, how to bring it to the table and get into alignment with self. Create that tribe and team of the people you need around you, and you know that everyone's got different superpowers and limits and strengths, and how you bring that together. Oh, what a powerful world we would live in if we understood that from each other.
Right. That is so cool. I like that. So then how do you use that when it comes to relationships? Because it got me thinking, like, which type my husband is. He kind of sounds like either he sounds more like the manifester or which one did you say?
Projector.
Like, I think so. The projector who like has the visionary, who's the visionary.
Yeah. Okay. So we can. I mean, we can look him up with once you have your details, you can actually put it in here. So the complexity, and when I do a reading for people, let's just put it this way: it's not like astrology in terms of compatibility, in terms of like, oh, this sign and that sign. There are so many layers to look at, but what it is, it tells you the good things. Like, let's just say, and there's a chance if your husband's a projector, manifesting generators or generators with projectors at that first level, they fit really well in terms of the projectors. What their signature is, they want to experience that level of success, right? They want to feel successful. They have one of the hardest, toughest roads, because we need to decondition everything that we know about success, because it doesn't fit the projector's thought of success in society. What I mean by that is, what is success? Going to the top, CEO, flashy cars, all the money, work. They burn out. They don't have the generator or manifesting generator energy. So they try to keep up with what society needs, and they can't do it. They need to take ample rest for themselves. So they need to be able to get themselves out of that 9 to 5 corporate world and start building something where they can be a guide and a mentor to people that doesn't burn them out. And once they know that success comes from being of service to humanity, helping them in a different way, getting away from, the Wolf of Wall Street kind of image, that's when success comes. So you can see here then, in that respect, if I'm going to take it to a very high level, if a projector is constantly, and the thing about, because we as generators and manifesting generators have that energy, what happens is when the projector is in your presence, they borrow. You can feel each other's energy, right? That's the whole thing about it. So they're borrowing our life force energy to generate, and then they feel like it's like a drug that they can do all these things, like when they're in our present. But then if you step away from them, they're exhausted, and that's when they need to nap and regenerate and know they can't bring it 24/7 like we can.
Right.
So for them, they're searching almost for that, oh, that's like a hit, it's an adrenaline hit. Like they're searching for the generators and manifesting generators. That's what they want. And us, we want to be lit up, right? We want to work with satisfied in what we do. So if you get a projector in alignment with themselves, and they're guiding, teaching, and mentoring something that lights us up, and that was like, how do I serve you? How do I get on board? How do I work with you? Oh my God, I want to be around you. So can you see how that's a beautiful fit?
Yeah. And you're able to work together and give and take with each other, feed off of each other, feel inspired,
Yeah.
from each other, right?
Yeah, so that's the first layer, but there's like about 5 or 6 layers of things going on. It comes down to, like, what you can see here is you have 2 white centers here, which means they're undefined energetic centers, which is your heart and the head. So for you, you're going to be attracted probably to somebody who has that defined, versus probably you are with a projector or something like that, because you have so many defined energy centers. You're quite a powerhouse with your energy, that people with the undefined, the opposite of these, when they're white, like I said, with the sacral, they're looking to get that life force energy to be able to work more, right? Each one of these serves a purpose, and it's too much to go into now, but somebody who has a lot of white centers are going to be like, oh, Alexia gives me all these the emotions, gives me that adrenaline rush from the root that I'm looking for. She, like, the voice that she uses is so powerful. So like if they don't feel like that they can actually vocalize what they want to say, they're going to be attracted to you. Do you see what I mean? So it's like what you give and receive from each other energetically that is a good fit. And then what
Right.
you don't have together is what somebody dominates over. That's what's going to have the conversations where you're probably going to feel a bit out of alignment with your partner, as if some person's more dominating than the other. And then it's like how you can to realize those things within each other. That's probably where you're going to start feeling a bit of the pull, where, you know, discomfort, or whether it's, you know, one person feels more dominating in the relationship than the other. And it might not be in everything, but once you start unpacking this, you can start seeing and understanding where the misalignment is.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Um, I don't know. He has quite a bit of energy, so maybe he's in alignment with, what he feels like success is. He's very intellectual, very like visionary, insightful, like a forward type of thinker. So I'm interested to find out. Anybody can go on this website and
Yeah,
type in
it's
the
free.
information.
Yeah, so
Okay.
what you need, let me just do this quickly so you guys can see it. Oops, my body graph. So if you go to the beginning, making a liar out of me now because I've got an H in there, that's why. Okay. So when you get here, it's probably going to take me to mine. So if I log out of this, you can just sign up here. It's for free. And then all you're going to need to do, once you log in, I'll create a new one so you guys can see. You go new, you put your name, you're going to need your date of birth. Now, your time of birth is, you're going to need to know your time of birth to get really, like in the higher levels of, like in terms of when you go deeper into one of these readings with me, you're going to need to know that. If you don't know your time of birth at this stage, the information can click over every few hours. So get as close as you can to the like even if you know your PM or AM, just put something in the middle of that. So it should give you at least your type. You need to know your country and your city. That's it. So a lot of people who don't know their time of birth. I don't know about you guys. We don't have it on our birth certificates. I don't know if you guys do in America. You can check that as well, and then
Yes,
it'll
we
bring up.
do. I don't think
Oh,
they
you
put the
do.
time of birth anymore. I'm not sure. I'm not
Yeah, we
sure
don't have that
why.
on ours. But yeah, just get it as close as you can for a reading. With, like, if you guys want to get a reading, you're going to need to know your time of birth. And there's like that. If you decide you want to get a reading with me later, just message me if you don't know your time of birth. And what I can do is have a look at when certain things click over, and we can kind of work out from who you are which is the right chart. So I've got the ability to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so this is what it looks like. And then what you want to do is actually go to the information. Just make sure you're on my body graphs. And then it should give you chart properties. Here we go. My body graph. And then here is the parts that we talked about, your type. And you want to look at your strategy, the signature, and your not self thing. So that was the things that we spoke about today at that high level. And how that can kind of start practicing with that energy about your strategy as well, like every day. Like if you can kind of lean into, like if you're a manifestor, knowing that it's not in your nature to inform people about what you're about to do, start doing that, and you'll start seeing your relationships change with people. They might not get so frustrated with you, let's just say, if they're a generator, manifesting generator, or if you're a projector, what I haven't talked about is your strategy here is what's called to wait for an invitation. So to understand and unpack that, I'll just do this quickly, is basically because projectors project, you're thinking about they're projecting onto people, but it's like they're actually, when they're in alignment with themselves, they're actually teaching and guiding people with their wisdom, right? They've got a lot of wisdom to give. What it means to wait for that invitation is projectors to feel successful, like that signature we were talking about, they want to feel successful, is I think that they need to give their advice to everyone, or everyone needs their advice and they have to take it. Like, when some people might just be curious, got curiosity and asking a question about, I don't know, like, how do I make money in crypto? And they might be great in crypto, and they're like, well, what you need to do is all this stuff. Now, somebody might go, oh yeah, cool, thanks. And so, like, that's not an invitation for them to give you more information. They're like, all right, thanks. Or they go and do something else, right?
Right.
So what the projector needs, and it's kind of like that, I call them like the vampires. You know, once a vampire that needs to be invited once into your house to cross the threshold and then they're in. Somebody says, tell me more, that's the invitation. Or, you know, it doesn't have to be a physical invite, but it's like, tell me more once. Then they want to know more. Then you're there to guide and teach, and that they resonate with you. But
Right.
that, you don't need an invitation every time. It's just that once. Once you cross the threshold like a vampire, you're in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
um,
That's so funny because me and my husband were actually watching this vampire show on oh gosh, what is that? Is that Stars? Either Stars or Showtime or something. It's called Let the Right One In.
oh,
If
okay.
anybody's looking for a new show, it's actually pretty good. But
Oh, wow.
it's about vampires, like, but it's not that corny type of stuff. But
Yeah.
and in one of the scenes is this little girl who's a vampire, and she had this little boy that she ended up friending, had him come with her to the house where she grew up like 10 years ago, but she's like stuck as a 12-year-old girl. And so then she was like, you got to go in first. And at first I was confused, but then, after he was reluctant, he was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. So then he goes into the house. They're like breaking in. He goes into the house, and she was like, okay, you got to tell me to come in. And then my husband was like, remember vampires, they got to be invited in. I was like, oh, okay, that's why. So it was like she couldn't go in by herself. She had to make him go in, and then he had to invite her in, and then she was able to go into the house.
Yeah.
So it's weird
Yeah.
how the universe works. You just
Yeah.
said that, and that just happened today.
Oh, that's so weird, huh? And I think, I honestly would love to know then, because of this concept, and I've never heard anyone else explain it, but I feel like projectors would have actually come up with the concept of vampires needing to be invited over the threshold. That would be really cool to find out.
That's why I'm like, I really think he's a projector. That's what he sounds like. because it'd be so much I don't understand it in the way he explains it. I'm like, oh, I didn't see it that way, or okay, that's something
Yeah.
new. It's just
Yeah.
always something new. It's just always a learning experience.
Yeah, so projectors just need to really be careful in terms of, when people are asking questions, they're not necessarily asking for advice. And what happens to them is, if they don't feel successful, like, that's the point. Like, if somebody loves their advice and that resonates, that's success. That's what that feels like successful. But if they are actually not then invited to share anymore, they feel unseen, and all those emotional things that we're talking about, not being recognized for their skills, it turns into their not self-theme is bitterness. They get really bitter with people.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what the conditioning and the deconditioning of that success really looks like is that you are not meant to serve everyone as well. Those people, that the tribe that you build, they're your people. They're the ones that you're meant to mentor and guide and teach. So learning how to go, okay, no worries, like, like you give like a little bit, and if they say, yeah, no, that's not for me, thanks, you go, okay. Like, learning, like,
Right.
not take it personally, and not
Take
to
it
feel
personal. Yeah.
like, oh, I gave them that advice, I don't know why they went and did something else. Have you ever seen when
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
say that? I don't
He's a
understand. Like,
projector.
I told them what to do, but no, they go and do something else, and now they're in this pickle. Like,
Like everyone's not going to take your advice, and it's not for everyone. Like, some
well, they
things
can't do
are
it. They're
are
not.
right for
Yeah,
you, and other things are right for other people, because we're all
and that's
different.
hardest lesson for projectors. If you're listening out there, it's not about you. It's just that they're not your people that you're meant to serve in this world, and that's okay. Because the
Mhm.
ones that you are, oh my gosh, you are like going to. That's the other thing too. Success is also knowing how to say no to certain things, so you can let more of the right things come in, and
Mhm.
people can say no to you. That's the thing. It's saying no. It doesn't take away from your success. It's actually leading you to the right people. It's going to bring you even more success by actually having that tribe that resonate with you, and your life is going to be much better than like trying to slog away. It's that hustler energy you need to decondition yourself from, because you're not built that way. You're not meant to hustle at all.
Right.
None of us are
Mm.
really, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's not hustling. Yeah.
Okay. This has
Yeah.
been really interesting. So,
Awesome.
so when you do, the human design readings,
Yeah.
how does does we need to bring anything other than, our date of birth and our time of birth and all
No,
that stuff like you would for an astrology chart? But what
no.
all goes into booking a
The
reading with you?
reading, yeah. So within the 90 minutes with me, so I'll cover this top level of what we were discussing about it. We'll look at in alignment to burnout and manifestation within your strategy type and your energetic type. We'll also look into then what we go through is the archetype, the personality and the role that you're meant to play in this lifetime. We go through all these 9 energetic centers. So where your superpowers are, how to tap into them. And the white spaces is actually about more about where your limiting beliefs and fears might be coming from. And I'll be able to coach you and help you through giving you some advice and techniques on how to actually get back into alignment with yourself. And so that you're not feeling whether it be the unworthiness, the not enoughness, we can see where that is in your chart, the fear of the future, all those kinds of things are coming out within your chart. So it just depends on who you are, obviously, like what your soul alignment's meant to be, and how then we can turn that into your greatest form of wisdom is really about the lessons you're meant to learn from that. And potentially that leads into partially the purpose that you're meant to walk in this lifetime. We'll uncover your soul's purpose as well, how to align with that, your zones of genius, like so many aspects of your chart gets covered in these 90 minutes. And you'll also be able to ask me one question in advance of what you're really struggling with in this at the moment, your biggest challenge, and we'll look into your chart on what's going on there for you as well. I do also offer partner reading. So whether you want to come with your partner or whether you just want to know for yourself about your partner, I just need both charts. So if that's something that you're looking at, I can do a 90-minute reading just if it's one person, but it'll probably be 2 hours if it's 2 people together, if you want to do that, because we need to go through bits of information on both people so they understand themselves, and then the crossover on like the overlay so you can understand each
Right,
other.
right. So they both can get the real
Yeah.
time information and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
can your human design chart be used for anything? Like if you do
Yes.
work a job, if you're an
Yep.
entrepreneur, if you don't want to work at all and you just want to, maybe be a stay-at-home mom, or you
Yep.
just want to go on a spiritual
Oh,
trip around
100%.
India or something like this.
Yeah,
Can your human
totally.
design help you with anything?
So really, again, so like the core part of this is when you can understand what's going on within yourself and get back into alignment with yourself. It doesn't matter whether you don't ever want to work again, that's cool, like, but you still, if you understand what your purpose, you might want a passion project or whatever. It's like, let's take a look at your unique gifts that you bring into this world, your superpowers within your energy and all those kinds of things. And then you might just be like, I don't know what I'm meant to do next. Like your human design chart is going to, you know what, you were born to be a doctor, why aren't you a doctor? You're out of alignment with yourself. It's nothing like that. It's about how you utilize your energy. So if somebody comes to me and says, oh, I was thinking about, am I in the right career because I am doing psychology, but I feel burnt out. So you got skills that you bring with you into the next thing, but we can then uncover and go, okay, so that you're all about people, but you're not necessarily meant to be working in clinics and under this system. Maybe you're here to guide and mentor, or you're a visionary, right, of a better tomorrow within that system. Do you see what I'm saying? So that you can actually then start to see where you're meant to be going and the skills that you've got that made you either successful in that, or what other skills you're meant to bring to the table that you're not quite using yet.
Okay.
And then also your other question was about work. So in the different centers and all these codons that we've got, like let's just say, like this is my chart now, it's reverted back to mine, but can you see within the throat, and we were talking about marketing, let's bring it to marketing for a second. These gates within your throat, you see when they're lit up, that's what's defined in your chart, versus when they're not lit up, that means it's not in within your DNA. Somebody else will have it. When you can see which ones you've got, is actually how to then utilize your voice in communication. So let's bring it to business, how to market according to your like the actual DNA that you've been given, so that you can actually get your message across better, right? You've got things about who you're meant to work with, like how you can bring strategy into your desk job. Like all of this is in here about what you can do in your day-to-day job to make your life easier, all the skills that you're meant to bring. But then for somebody else, let's just say they don't want to have a business, but they're constantly feeling like they're unseen, unheard in the workplace. Let's have a look at what's going on within this throat, so we can look at those people who don't want to have a business, but also that they feel that they're never heard, they're never understood. Let's see where your powerhouse is within your throat and how you're meant to communicate with people.
Right.
So that can actually be better with your children, with your husband, with, like, so we can take it to any aspect. And then also about, well, I want to become an entrepreneur. Well, great, remember this, because this is how people hear you. This is how you express yourself unapologetically, become who you are, rather than what other people want you to be.
Okay, I like that. I love that. I love that. This is very interesting. I do have one more question. Can this help
Sure.
someone who feels like their chakras are imbalanced?
Totally. I love
Okay.
that you brought this up. Love it, because I actually done Reiki. I've got my Reiki 2 as well, so I'm going to do an advanced Reiki. And I love having this conversation with people, because what I never aligned with Reiki terminology is your chakra's blocked. You got to block this. If you're blocked, you'd be dead. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not about blocked. It's about, like, I understand that there's it's not in not in alignment with how it's meant to be utilized. When you have it defined in your chart, you're going to find that you have access to that energy 24/7, according to Human Design. When it's undefined, it isn't flowing for you 24/7. So that is probably, like, when you go into that access of the chakras and stuff that people are talking to you about, I bet I want to put money on it to work with somebody like that what they're finding is what we need to look in your human design chart that's not turned on for you to use properly. And obviously, like, when you have something defined, it doesn't mean that you never fall out of alignment. There's still ways that you can be in that challenge aspect of the definition. Like, for instance, this is your root chakra. Let's talk about this one for a second so you get an idea. Mine's defined. What holds in the root? Adrenaline, adrenals, right? What it means is I have access 24/7 to an even keel of adrenaline, right? So in the workplace, if you gave me all these deadlines, that didn't stress me out. I thrived on that. I was like, yeah, bring it on. And I can do things in the last minute because I've got this adrenaline hit to keep things going. Now, people who don't have that, they're going to feel an enormous amount of pressure and stress with deadlines and almost feel sick about it. And it's like they can't keep up with the pressure. So they can run into a lot of fatigue because they don't have that even keel of adrenaline, right? But me, being somebody who has this all the time, like, turned on, I get adrenal fatigue because I abuse it. I don't know when to switch it off. Do you see what I'm saying? So we can both be out of alignment within having it or not having it defined.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And so the chart is about helping you recognize that and then turning it on.
Well, the thing is that no, so whatever we've got, that's our DNA set, right? But how to
Okay.
utilize and be in alignment with what you've got.
Oh,
So,
so using what you got, using your
correct.
strengths, and just not really paying attention to what you
That's
don't
right.
have.
So the best way that I can explain this is every single one of us, no matter what you speak, is born perfect, right? If
Mhm.
you think a soul is perfect, is born. So in this way, we're saying we are perfect to our design. There's
Mhm.
nothing, no one's got one thing that's better than you and going, oh, I wish I had that. It's like, no, when you learn all the things that are undefined in your chart, it's your life lessons, your greatest wisdom that you overcome. And when you get into alignment, you're more of a powerhouse than somebody who has something 24/7. They've just
Mhm.
got access to it. They can take it for granted, right? But when you have
Mhm.
to overcome adversity to something because you don't have it, and you learn how to utilize that power for good and to help and serve others, what a gift that is, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. So it's embracing who you are and taking that
Exactly.
and embracing who you are and taking that to the highest level. Not paying attention to what someone else has, comparing yourself a lot. We're so much in this comparison culture, especially with social media.
Correct. Oh yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, I think this would be really, really good to help someone with that and looking at your adversities as a life lesson instead of and your weaknesses as a life lesson instead of, looking at it as a lack, right?
And even the weakness, I'd just say that it's not weakness, it's just that we're falling out of alignment, right? So that's
Hmm.
then you start to feel the challenge of that aspect of yourself. Now, just because you go and get a reading or you have this information again, what I want to iterate is we're still human, even though it's just that knowledge and bringing into our conscious awareness to have that self-awareness that we're out of alignment doesn't mean that we're ever going to be 100% aligned all the time. We're in this 3D meat suit, like to be able to experience everything. But once you have the awareness of when you're falling out of alignment with your design, your specific design, you know how to quickly bring yourself back. And that's the practice, and that's what takes work, and how to experiment what works for you. And I'm here as a coach that I actually coach people one-on-one. So once you've done the reading, if you feel like this is something that you want to embody into your life to become and get your empowerment back, like your personal power back within yourself to create the life that you want, to find your purpose, that's what I work with these clients, to get that transformational experience and working through how to actually come back into alignment with yourself.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, you work with men and women?
Totally. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So, if this was if this resonated with you as much as it resonated with me, if it like drew you in, like, oh man, I gotta learn more. This is so interesting. This is so cool. Like, I definitely feel like is this could go so much deeper. There's so many layers. And like you said, you only have so much time. We can't unpack everything here, but I feel like this was a huge help, putting things in perspective for me. So if you are feeling the same way, then I would highly encourage you to book a reading with Becky, a human design chart reading with her, and then go into the coaching of how to reach your highest potential and getting into alignment with your soul's purpose. Um, where can people find you? Where can they, reach out to you and book a reading and get
Sure.
started on this path?
Sure. I can send you. Do you want a link to my website where you can actually book in some time with me? Like you can either book
Yeah.
in a call for the coaching if you want to go straight to coaching and see what it's about. It's a free, what I call a breakthrough session. We just have a look at everything that's going on in your life. Or there's another one where you can go directly to book in a human design reading with me. I have a Facebook group called Life Purpose by Design as well on
Mm.
Facebook. And I'm on Facebook where you can just send me a direct message as well if you don't want to go through my website. So I'll send you all the links so that you can add them in if that's easier.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So all of that information will be in the show notes. So make sure that you click on the description and information box, and the link will be there to schedule your reading or to just schedule, a call with her and just see how you feel. Just see how if it vibes and if it resonates with you and if you're pulled to go deeper. I think that's a big part of it, right? You got to kind of be pulled to
That's
go
right.
deeper and want to figure out and want to do the work and want to really go there because it sounds like this is some layers to unpack, but it'll be so worth it because you'll understand yourself better and what you're meant to be really be doing in this world so that you're not experiencing burnout and frustration and bitterness and not feeling good enough and everything just falls into alignment for you.
Amazing. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Becky, for your time and doing this interview. This was really good. This was so interesting. Definitely drew me in. I really appreciate you pulling up my chart as well and allowing me to get that insight into and that insight into, you know, what my type is, my strategy, my signature, and things like that, it definitely resonated. I felt like you were speaking to me and you knew me. Like, oh my gosh, it was like, oh, if only you knew. Everything you said was like, yes, that is exactly what it is. I gotta love it. I can't do it without it. I can't. I tried and I can't. So I stopped trying, and now I'm just doing me, and whoever like it, and whoever don't, I don't know what to tell you. That's the attitude I got right now.
You do you. That's it. That's all you got to
Well,
do.
pretty much. Oh,
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It was amazing being on your show.
oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And everyone, make sure that you check out the show notes. All the information will be in the description below. And make sure that you follow us on social media. Um, but you know, she's offering a free consultation, a free discovery call. Take advantage of that. um, and if you have any questions, shoot a message, an email, you know, reach out, and I'm sure she will be more than happy to answer your questions. And if
Totally.
you have any questions, and you're watching on YouTube, drop them in the comments below, and we'll see if we can get them answered for you.
Okay.
And thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.